guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. I'm one of your hosts, Michelle. Today is the 28th of June, 2019. I cannot tell you how excited I am about tonight's show. You are not going to want to miss what we have coming up.
But I'm going to play this because Donald Trump spoke at the Faith and Freedom Coalition and
preserving our country's vital tradition of faith-based adoption. And we're proudly defending the sanctity of life. But keep fighting because, as most of the people in the room know, it's very fragile. Unfortunately, Democrat politicians have become increasingly hostile to pro-life America.
yes, Democrat
who want to
politicians
help
have
more
become
children
hostile
find
to
a loving
pro-life.
home and share their dreams with the world. Virtually every top Democrat lawmaker now supports taxpayer-funded abortion right up to the moment of birth. And by the way, if you watched Virginia, the governor, after the moment of birth, that was something that nobody heard of before. After the moment of birth, nobody believed it. I had never heard of it. I don't think
Called
anybody
murder.
had heard of it. When he talked about wrapping the child and then discussing with the mother whether or not she wants to keep, the child is born. So that becomes an execution. Every
Boom.
child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. And that is why I have asked Congress to prohibit the late-term abortion of babies.
Babies. Oh, Ray says that.
And they'll do that.
And they'll
Do that.
Here's the thing: if Donald Trump were a racist, most abortions are on black women. So why would he want black babies being born and not
Right.
executed?
Right.
He's a really bad racist. Really bad racist. Okay, source-backed groups demands financial blacklisting of conservatives. As if you didn't know already. As if censorship isn't enough, leftists have decided to ramp up their demands that those who have a different political view be financially blacklisted.
Wow.
We know that for Alex Jones, he can't even use PayPal.
Right. Well,
and
Patreon,
just
any of
their
these.
their
It's not just
comment
Alex
section's
Jones, though,
totally gone.
because how many of these people have come forward that Chase Bank won't
Patreon.
even let them bank there anymore?
A coalition of far-left political activist organizations known for peddling smears about conservatives held a protest at MasterCard's annual general meeting today, demanding that the international credit card giant financially blacklist wider sections of the political right. Fortunately, MasterCard didn't cave to the tyrannical demands of George Soros-backed groups. According to Breitbart, MasterCard's AGM, the far-left groups Some of Us and Sleeping Giants, Soros-backed, circled the venue with a mobile billboard stating, "Putting hate groups out of business, #priceless." We know that some aren't using, you can't use it to buy guns now. I'm not sure who that is, but I read that somewhere on one of these. Okay, the group's proposal to form a human rights committee did not sway shareholders who voted the measure down. According to a press release published by the two organizations, this was coupled with a speech from the Sleeping Giants co-founder Nandini Jemmy addressing the need for MasterCard to take swift action by cutting off its services to these hate groups. Socialists just can't stand it when people have access to their own money and spend it how they want. It's control these sociopaths seek. Some of Us is purportedly a human rights activist group that now campaigns to make speech with which it politically disagrees with unprofitable. Its website lists a number of powerful left-wing foundations among its partners, including George Soros Open Society Foundation, the Tides Foundation, Media Democracy Fund, and the Rockefeller Brothers Foundation. Earlier this year, Sum of Us presented a proposal to MasterCard shareholders calling for the company to establish a human rights committee that would monitor payments to the far right.
Wow.
The protest aimed to pressure MasterCard to accept the proposal. Shareholders voted it down. They even had to vote on it. They voted on it. Sleeping Giants was formed with the sole purpose of smearing those who have differing political views. The group's founders initially refused to take accountability for the organization's words and actions by remaining anonymous. Sleeping Giants was set up in 2016 by far-left political activists with the sole stated purpose of defunding Breitbart by spreading lies about it. The identity of its other founder, a former advertising professional, Matt Rivets, was revealed last year. Sleeping Giants coupled these smears with targeted social media harassment campaigns against corporations whose ads appear on Breitbart News. Although MasterCard's board says it is committed to the principle of allowing all lawful purchases, online payments platform Patreon says that MasterCard asked it to withdraw service from Islam critic Robert Spencer, founder of Jihad Watch, in August of 2018. MasterCard also pressured a payment processor to cut off service to conservative activist think tank founder and author David Horowitz last year. But later, the processor reinstated service following pressure from Breitbart News and other conservative media. There have been some liberal groups coming to the defense of conservatives and sounding the alarm on the blatant censorship and financial blacklisting. Let's see. In July of last year, the Electronic Frontier Foundation warned the banks, credit card companies, and payment processors are becoming de facto internet censors. Now, if you can't defeat your opponent's ideas, shut them down, kneecap them, and totally silence them. I mean, it's literally Karate Kid. Like, take out the knee.
Okay, so a couple things here.
It's so insane because they literally cannot meet one-on-one with the arguments.
As if your credit card should be monitoring... What's wrong with you? Should be monitoring your purchases to start with, whatever they are. I don't care what you're buying. With your credit card company is not the police. It is not their job to investigate you or your purchases. They're not trained for that. You know, you have to go to police academy to be a police officer. Okay? That's not their job to police what you are or are not buying. Then I wanted to address, you know, a lot of people on our show or that watch our show are what I call end timers. They believe we're in the last days.
Market of Bay 666.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Now, we aren't exactly end timers. I think we got a while to go. I'm really excited about the changes that are going to happen. I think God's moving, and we're going to get to that. But
self-fulfilling prophecies.
When you look at what is happening right now, everybody kept thinking it was going to be some sort of chip that they implant in you. And when they did invent chips, they thought, this is it. This is why we're in the end times. We already can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. You already can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. And this is just an example of more of that. Unless you choose to conform to the way they want you to believe, the way they say your mind should be programmed, we will not allow you to buy or sell with our credit card. And then everybody says, well, I'll just move to the next credit card. You move to the next credit card. Well, I'll just move to cash. Well, cash is about to fail. Okay, and they're going to move to a solely digital currency. So all you people that love your cash and love to walk around with cash, say goodbye to the cash because it's going the way of...
But here's the thing. I think what you're trying to get to is if you believe we're in times, you're going to say, oh, this is great because that means Jesus coming back so you don't fight it.
Exactly.
And so then you have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we're all about fighting it and not just, I'm not going to go down without a fight. I mean, it's absolutely insane to just be like, oh, Jesus is coming back. This is fantastic. No, it's stupid. It's wrong.
Well, especially when you can't be 100% sure. And so if you're not 100% sure, which it's impossible for you to be 100% sure, and you sit on your hands and say, God's going to come back and say, listen, you weren't on my side. You weren't fighting to the end. There's scriptures about that. You ought to be fighting like he's not coming back for 1,000 years. You ought to be witnessing like he's coming back tomorrow. You got to be able to converge the two. Okay.
So, random news here. Teen Vogue promotes the legacy of Karl Marx to its 3.3 million Twitter followers.
That's scary.
On his Karl Marx 200-year birthday, Says Marx's ideas can still teach us about the past and the present.
No way.
Here's what didn't work and why we should never attempt it again. No, they did not say that. They quote, his writings have inspired social movements in Soviet Russia, China, Cuba, Argentina, Ghana, Burkina Faso, and more. Many political writers and artists like Angela Davis, Malcolm X, Claudia Jones, and Helen Keller integrated Marxist theory into their works decades after his death.
He was an editor of a newspaper that was eventually censored by the Prussian government for speaking out against censorship and challenging the government. So the way to defeat censorship is by censoring those that you disagree with.
Then the article goes on to cite high school English teacher Mark Brunt, who encourages his student to learn the legacy of Karl Marx's idea. I do a little role-playing with my class. I tell them, I'm the boss, you're my workers, and you want to try to take me down. I have the money. I own the factory. I control the police. I control the military. I control the government. What do you guys have? It's always just one student whose hand shoot up and says, we outnumber you. Brunt then ostensibly uses the line of logic to try to empower students to rebel, teaching them about the tension between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and reminding students that workers in factories had very little control over their work, including their working conditions, compared to the profiteering factory owners. How about we get the people out of the factory and on their own farms? But no, that's not Karl Marx's idea, because part of the Communist Manifesto is that everything is owned by this government that's so bad and controlling. But then, almost comically, the article dryly notes, if such a revolution occurred in Brunt's classroom, his students would overthrow him as a teacher, and the principal, and the superintendent, and so on. Yeah, but the indoctrination doesn't stop there. With Brunt working to convince his students that they are being tricked and could be playing into false consciousnesses, Brunt tells his students, false consciousness is when you think that the social conditions are different than they actually are. You're tricked into thinking your allies are different, and your enemies are different than they actually are. It's not just Brunt the article cites. Teen Vogue also pointed out to former Drexel professor George, Mayer, who reminds his students that capitalism emerged through a state of violence. When I teach Marx, it's got a lot to do with questions about how to think critically about history. Marx says we live under capitalism, but capitalism has not always existed. It's something that came into being, and something that, as a result, just on a logical level, could disappear, could be overthrown.
Everybody earning and living off of what they actually put into it is somehow more evil than the people that do no work sharing in the people who do work.
Bad news for California gun owners, because I could go on and on Karl Marx all day, and I already just did the whole Dem socialist thing. California gun owners have been rushing to buy bullets before a new background check law goes into effect statewide Monday, the first of its kind in the nation. In the last 2 weeks, this person says, I've been up about 300%. People bulking up. Enacted in 2016, Proposition 63 and SB 1235 require one of two types of background check when buying any type of ammunition for a firearm. A $1 standard ammunition eligibility check for anyone who has legally purchased a handgun in the state since 1990, which takes 2 to 3 minutes, or a more invasive $19 basic ammunition eligibility check that would take up to 10 days to complete. Those with a valid certificate of eligibility issued by the DOJ would require the $1 fee. The instant background checks will reference information on file at the DOJ's automated firearms system. The detailed overview of the law can be found here. So let's see. There are currently 10 bills pending in the state legislature.
This is probably not for you.
Hey, buddy,
whatever it
what you
is.
got?
It's Nancy's marble.
No more marbles.
We have a dog here who likes to chew on things, so we have to kind of constantly keep one eye on her and one eye on
So, can
you.
Californians purchase ammunition outside of the state and bring it back? No. You may, however, purchase ammo and have it delivered to a licensed vendor in California to pick it up. So you can't go in another state to buy ammo.
Wow.
Do I need a California driver's license to purchase ammo? Under California law, no, but California Department of Justice has independently indicated one will be required this in a couple weeks.
Just move out of California.
Are concealed weapons holders exempt from ammunition background check requirements? No. How much will the required background check cost? $1 or $19? And then there's more in the works. I believe, I don't know if this is the one, but they want one that wants to pass where you can't buy from I don't think you can buy in the state of California if you're from another state with this law.
That makes sense.
So if you run out of ammo and you're in California,
you're sunk.
This is kind of sad. Supreme Court deals blow to Alabama pro-life. The Supreme Court on Friday dealt a blow to Alabama pro-life advocates by declining to hear a case over a law which would ban the procedure with few exceptions.
From what I understand, Brett Kavanaugh actually voted in favor of disbanding this and not listening to it.
The decision to punt on the case means the lower court rulings striking down the recently passed law banning dilation and evacuation abortions will stand. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in a concurring opinion that he agreed the court should not hear the case, but called it a stark reminder that our abortion jurisprudence has spiraled out of control. Although this case does not present the opportunity to address our demonstrably erroneous undue burden standard, we cannot continue blinking the reality of what this court has wrought, says Clarence Thomas. Justices have previously turned down similar cases from Indiana and Louisiana. So that's not really awesome. On Sunday we're gonna talk about the G20 summit.
I had put that in the title because I thought you were gonna talk about it today, but I can take it out of the title.
Yeah, we're running low on time, so you can talk about censorship in the title. I don't know.
You will know because then that'll get censored. It's fine.
So we're also gonna see. I'm gonna play this again. Putin laughing after grinning. Trump.
Well,
says,
that
"Don't
is
meddle in the
in that.
election."
I mean, that's what I put in the picture. Actually, Putin and Trump. Can you tell them about that?
Okay. So prompted by reporters' questions, Trump tells Putin, "Don't meddle in the election, please."
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How can they even?
Thank you very much, Brett.
So I think we might have missed it within there. I think it was all over the.
Yeah.
No, leave that to the wall, please.
Is there another chew thing?
There is. She's just trying to take my.
There's one in
sticker
that
off the
bed
wall.
with a knot on it. There was a better video of Trump saying, "Don't meddle in the election."
So they asked asked Trump if he was going to tell Putin not to meddle in our election, and Trump literally says to Putin, "Don't meddle in our election."
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
So Trump is angry after the ridiculous Supreme Court blocks citizenship question, asked lawyers to delay census. President Trump responded to the Supreme Court's decision to block the citizen question. This is because of Justice Roberts, who's actually a liberal, who supposedly was a conservative, but he's not. He keeps siding with Obama and everything, Obamacare, same-sex marriage, and everything like that. Seems totally ridiculous that our government, and indeed country, cannot ask a basic question of citizenship in a very expensive, detailed, and important census, adding that he is asking White House lawyers in 2020 if the 2020 census can be delayed until the Supreme Court can consider additional information from which it can make a final decisive decision. The U.S. Supreme Court dealt a blow to the Trump administration on Thursday, backing lower court decisions which found the government's reasoning for placing a citizenship question on the 2020 question to be invalid. Chief Justice Roberts joined the liberal justices in 5-4. So insane. The Trump administration argued that the citizenship question is necessary to better comply with the voting rights law, which critics say it is an attempt to intimidate households with illegal immigrants into declining to answer the census. With fewer people filling out census, legislative seats are more likely to garner Republican congressional districts. With fewer people filling out censuses, because they're here illegally, legislative seats are more likely to garner Republican congressional districts through gerrymandering. That's not exactly how this works. If you're not a citizen, then you're not supposed to vote. So you wouldn't answer the census question. So, but you could. That's how these Democrats are getting more seats.
Right. That's why they're against this.
In April, President Trump tweeted, "Can you believe that the radical left Democrats wanted to do our new and very important Census Bureau without the all-important citizen question? Report would be meaningless and a waste of billions that it costs to put together." The Trump administration, meanwhile, asserted executive privilege over materials related to the citizenship question, which Chief Justice Roberts thought was insufficient. It's absolutely crazy. Separately, the USSC left the topic of gerrymandering to the states, with Roberts writing, we conclude that partisan gerrymandering claims present political questions beyond the reach of the federal courts.
I'm actually really curious with these censorship polls that they put out, that they send out, and you have people that go door to door asking people to, did you fill out your census thing? We don't usually fill them out because we kind of feel it's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
And so my question is, I'm very curious how the citizenship question crosses the privacy line that, like, let's say how much money you make, or how many kids you have, or what your household is like. Like, how is whether you are a citizen a more invasive question?
Only citizens are supposed to vote in our elections, but that they don't want.
And they're terrified of the amount of responses that will come back being not citizens.
Millions. Democrats would never win another election if they didn't have illegal people on the census.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So I think I'm following in the chat that Eric Butler is sick.
Aww.
If he is, we are praying for him. Let me know if I'm correct on that from the chat.
Okay.
Is that the end of the show?
Yeah, I had another couple little funny things, but I think we should probably.
Yes.
AOC was caught. She put out these pictures of herself at the border, crying. But what everybody is saying is that it's clown world because there's nobody on the other side of the fence.
I'll never forget this because it was the moment I saw with my own eyes that the America I love was becoming a nation that steals refugee children from their parents and cages them. I feel her emotions in every single picture, especially the last one. It's pure anger, and how can one not feel anger after seeing what she saw?
Really? So what did she see? Distraught children separated from their parents, Mexican minors left to suffer alone in metal cages, crying kids interned in barbaric concentration camps. Turns out, it was an empty parking lot. Oh, the humanity.
It's pure anger, and how can one not feel anger after seeing what she saw?
I mean, sometimes I get a bit peeved if I see a car parked slightly over the line when there's plenty of room. But pure anger? Not really. Why so serious? I mean, we know AOC is big on the environment. Maybe she was mad at the lack of trees.
I saw with my own eyes that the America I love was becoming a nation that steals refugee children from their parents and cages them.
Yeah, you saw with your own eyes a few bored cops and a few dozen hysterical sanctimonious idiots pretending to cry over nothing for a crass photo op. That's what you saw. Oh, the humanity. I'm just glad that Uncle Joe was there to comfort her. I'm just glad that she was able to visit a Planned Parenthood abortion mill afterwards to cheer herself up. Oh, the humanity. I'm just glad that this photographer and this photographer and this photographer all captured her authentic, in-the-moment, grief-ridden reaction to an empty parking lot in photos that were definitely not staged. This definitely wasn't a photo op attended by over a dozen virtue-signaling celebrities, and it's definitely not a little odd to show up to a protest in the middle of a desert dressed in a pristine white outfit wearing bright red lipstick and a luxury watch, because this definitely wasn't staged.
Oh my gosh, I am so upset. I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know there was going to be a camera crew here today. You need to let those children go. Oh my gosh, I can't take it. I'm going to faint. Let those children go.
Did you get that? Did you guys get a picture of that?
Guys, please make sure you get my $1,000 Gucci watch and my designer boots in every shot, okay?
When you're wanting Chick-fil-A really bad and you realise it's a Sunday, when you accidentally step on your dog's foot. After gorging herself on burritos and retried beans, AOC realised she had picked the wrong day to wear white. When you realise the electricity it takes to power waste disposal units means the world's gonna end in 11 years, not 12. When the bread line is too long. Alright, no more boomer memes, I promise. AOC's reaction in these photos is about as authentic as her fake black accent.
Looks like ain't nothing wrong with that.
Not authentic. It's about as authentic as her claim of growing up in the Bronx, when in reality she spent most of her childhood in Yorktown Heights, which is 90% white. Not authentic. It's about as authentic as her claim to care about the financial struggles of working class New Yorkers, when she literally helped cancel a deal that would have brought 25,000 new jobs to New York. Not authentic.
Thank you for that, Paul Joseph Watson. That was really great. So, I guess, yes, Eric is in the hospital. And so we're definitely praying for him. Kelly says, hey, are you covering Elizabeth Warren and she/they weren't going to leave the children that need to be back with their families, and then she left an hour later? That is awesome. Thank you for that, Kelly. So I'm glad that you guys were here. Did we have a fun show? Because I think we had a great show. I'm really excited about
Clown World.
Okay. I just gotta for a minute. And
You're not going to fart, are you?
No. Thank you.
And then you're going to shout, learn, and own it.
I know. I might. I mean, if I could conjure something like that up, I don't know how anyone ever does that.
My mom hates the F word.
No.
Poof.
It's my show, and I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And
Poofs.
I want to preface this by saying, and you know where I'm going to go with as soon as I say this.
I thought you were going to go with Toots, but so now I don't know.
I love Alex Jones. I love InfoWars. I support them more than
there?
a lot of people out there support them. Okay. This is me showing that I will call out something that made me upset regardless of who I support, because I really, really do support them. I got so angry with their Clown Wars coverage because he and Owen on the first night of the debates, their crass humor was out of this world. I had to shut it off and go watch MSNBC on cable television because I was so upset. I left InfoWars. That's probably one of the only times I've ever, I don't think you and Mom probably have a couple of times, but I literally was sick to my stomach because they kept saying the same dirty joke over and over and over again. And I was like, out of the same mouth flow blessings and cursings. These things ought not be. And I want to have a message for Alex Jones.
What is that? Walk away with potty mouth. Away with
Potty mouth. Won't kiss no potty mouth. All right. So, Alex, if you're watching this, if your people are watching this, if anybody at InfoWars is watching this, spiritually, that is why you guys lose when you're under attack, because you have to have the purity and holiness of God to defend yourself against these types of things. If you're going to be on the devil's side shouting all of his obscenities and vileness, then you open the door to, hey, God, don't protect me. Let the devil come after me, okay? You got to walk as holy as you try to talk. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous when you're losing your most loyal viewers on a really important night because you can't keep your words. I'm not even talking about curse words. Find whatever curse. This was straight up perversion that was disgusting and vile. And it was awful. So there's my thing.
Sermon for the day.
Yeah. We were going to give him a whole spiritual thing that you said.
I did. I talked about it.
Okay. All right. We love you guys.
God loves you.
God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
We want you to like. We want you to comment. We want you to subscribe to Mass Faith 3, Resistance Chicks, on all of the places that we are on. Minds, BitChute, ResistanceChicks.com.
Jay's coming up with a channel.
Jay's coming up with a channel. The Patriot channel, which is going to have a revamped name that he's praying about. And we did a meeting on Monday, and it's super excited. Chris Ann Hall is involved. The History Bee is involved. One of the really popular moderators who I was not familiar with, maybe you guys are, the DM. She's involved as well. So it's going to be absolutely amazing, and coders that are out of this world. So I'm super excited to bring you more about that as it unfolds. So 107 Milford, Ohio 45150. Send us your letters. We will read your comments on air.
We got a nice card.
We did get a very, very generous and nice card from Robert Bone. Thank you for that, Robert. We did get it, and that was very, very kind of you. So thank you. We also got another monthly donation from Eric. So thank you guys for that. So a lot of this stuff is getting saved up for a rainy day because we want to use it towards the show. So thank you, and God bless you. All right, you guys, we're signing off. We'll be back here on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news.
I got the show lining up already. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right, you guys, good night. God bless. I was cold all alone. No place for